Today we're going to uncover a story that shocked Hollywood and left investigators puzzled. Behind the walls of a peaceful Santa Fe home, a tragedy unfolded that even now remains shrouded in mystery. Gene Hackman, the legendary actor whose performances captivated audiences for decades, and his wife Betsy Arakawa were found dead in their home. But the strangest part of this story? Their loyal dogs may be the only witnesses to what really happened. If you're fascinated by unsolved mysteries and Hollywood tragedies, make sure you watch until the end. I'll reveal exclusive insights about the investigation that haven't been shared anywhere else. What would you do if you found yourself face to face with a mystery so profound that even the most seasoned investigators were left searching for answers? That's exactly what happened when authorities entered the Santa Fe home of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa. The silence that greeted them was deafening, broken only by the soft breathing of two dogs, Bear and Nikita, who sat huddled together in the living room, seemingly unfazed by the strangers entering their home. The first responding officer, Deputy Martinez, immediately noted something unusual. Bear, known to neighbors as fiercely protective of Hackman, showed no signs of aggression or alarm. For a dog who would typically bark at passing delivery trucks, this calm acceptance of strangers in his territory raised immediate red flags. Animal behavior expert Dr. Sarah Johnson later explained, "Dogs are incredibly perceptive to changes in their environment and the emotions of their owners. The lack of protective response from Bear suggests that whoever had been in that house before the authorities arrived was someone the dogs knew and trusted. Bear would go crazy if anyone he didn't know came near Gene. He was like a furry security system. The fact that he was just sitting there quietly when they found them, that tells you something wasn't right." The bodies of Hackman, 95, and Arakawa, 65, showed signs of having been deceased for approximately 2 weeks before their discovery. What triggered the wellness check that led to this grim finding was a canceled appointment. Betsy had missed a scheduled meeting with her financial advisor and hadn't responded to multiple follow-up calls, something completely out of character for the methodical former fitness instructor. But Bear and Nikita weren't the only dogs in the household. Xena, a third dog described as particularly attached to Betsy, was found in a bathroom closet, a location she had never been known to frequent. The position of her body raised questions among investigators. A faint scratch mark on the inside of the closet door suggested she may have tried to escape. Neighbors recalled that in the weeks leading up to the tragedy, Xena had displayed unusual behavior, following Betsy everywhere and showing signs of distress. Maria Gonzalez, who had helped with housekeeping for the couple, told investigators, "Xena wouldn't let Betsy out of her sight. It was like she sensed something was wrong. Animals know things, sometimes before we do." The surviving dog's behavior after the incident provided additional clues. Bear began exhibiting signs of stress, growling at unfamiliar sounds and becoming hypervigilant. Nikita, by contrast, became withdrawn, avoiding areas of the house where she had previously been active. These behavioral changes suggested that the dogs had witnessed events traumatic enough to alter their personalities. When dogs experience a traumatic event, their behavior often changes in ways similar to humans with PTSD. The contrasting reactions of Bear and Nikita, one becoming hypervigilant and the other withdrawn, are classic trauma responses. Whatever happened in that house, these dogs saw it. The official autopsy results initially seemed straightforward. Gene Hackman died from hypertensive and atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, conditions consistent with his advanced age. Betsy Arakawa's cause of death was determined to be hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, a rare but serious illness transmitted by rodents. These findings might have closed the case were it not for several troubling inconsistencies. First, there was the timeline. Security footage from a neighbor's camera showed a delivery person dropping off a package 3 days after the estimated time of Betsy's death. The footage clearly shows someone accepting the package at the door. However, based on autopsy findings, Gene was likely still alive at this point, potentially unaware that his wife had already passed away. With advanced Alzheimer's, which Mr. Hackman was rumored to be suffering from, it's entirely possible he was unable to comprehend what had happened to his wife. We've seen cases where individuals with severe cognitive decline continue their routines alongside deceased loved ones, unable to process the reality of the situation. Another puzzling detail: the dog's food and water bowls were nearly empty when authorities arrived, but not completely. Had someone been there to provide minimal care for the animals after both Hackman and Arakawa were deceased? Or had Hackman managed to feed them before his own death, despite his reportedly deteriorating mental state? Cell phone records showed that Betsy's phone had been used to send a text message to her sister 4 days after her estimated time of death. The message simply read, "Everything fine, call you next week." Investigators are still working to determine whether this message was sent by Gene in a moment of lucidity or by someone else entirely. The news of Hackman and Arakawa's deaths sent shockwaves through both the local Santa Fe community and Hollywood. Neighbors described the couple as private but kind. Industry giants like Clint Eastwood and Francis Ford Coppola shared heartfelt tributes to the two-time Academy Award winner. Clint Eastwood's words captured the sentiment of many. There was no finer actor than Gene, intense and instinctive, never a false note. He was also a dear friend whom I will miss very much. As for Bear and Nikita, they now live with Betsy's niece in Colorado. Veterinarians continue to monitor their behavior, hoping that their ongoing trauma responses might provide additional insights into the final moments of the couple's lives. The dogs remained the only living witnesses to whatever transpired in that Santa Fe home. 6 months after the discovery, investigators returned to the Hackman home with cadaver dogs, searching for any overlooked evidence. The search yielded nothing conclusive, though one of the cadaver dogs showed interest in an area of the garden where the ground appeared recently disturbed. Subsequent excavation revealed only a buried chew toy, presumably hidden by one of the dogs. Toxicology reports eventually ruled out foul play in the deaths of both Hackman and Arakawa. However, traces of prescribed medication for Alzheimer's disease were found in Hackman's system, at levels inconsistent with proper dosing, suggesting he may have been either over or under-medicating in his final days. Perhaps the most intriguing piece of evidence emerged 3 months into the investigation when a neighbor's security camera footage was recovered from cloud storage. The footage, dated a week before the bodies were discovered, shows an unidentified vehicle pulling into the Hackman driveway. The car remained for approximately 20 minutes before departing. No one has come forward to identify themselves as the visitor, and the license plate remains unreadable in the footage. As the investigation continues, the quiet house in Santa Fe stands as a somber reminder of lives well lived and questions unanswered. Bear and Nikita, the silent witnesses, continue to carry secrets they cannot share with the world. The mysterious circumstances surrounding the deaths of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa remind us that even in the most seemingly straightforward cases, questions can linger. What really happened in those final days? Did Gene understand what was happening to his beloved wife? And who was the mysterious visitor captured on camera? We may never have all the answers, but as investigators continue their work, one thing remains clear. Sometimes, the most important witnesses can't speak for themselves. If this deep dive into Hollywood mystery fascinated you, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. We release new investigations every Tuesday and Friday. In the comments below, let me know your thoughts on this case. What do you think happened in those final days? And if you're interested in supporting more investigations like this one, your support helps us continue uncovering the stories behind Hollywood's most compelling mysteries. Until next time, remember that sometimes the truth is stranger than any fiction Hollywood could create.